be entered into unadvisedly or lightly, but soberly, deliberately, and in reverent fear before God. Into this holy union, Christopher and Christine now come to be joined. Christopher, will you have this woman to be your wife? Christine. I, Christine, take you, Christopher.
I, Christine, take you, Christopher.
To be my husband.
To be my husband.
To have and to hold.
To have and to hold.
From this day forward.
From this day forward.
For better, for worse.
For better, for worse.
For richer, for poorer.
For richer, for poorer.
In sickness and in health.
In sickness and in health.
To love and to cherish.
To love and to cherish.
Until death do us part.
Until death do us part.
As God is my witness.
As God is my witness.
I give you my promise. Husband and wife. It is the light of love and the light of new beginnings. Christopher and Christine, please take the two tapered candles representing your individual selves and light the center candle representing your marriage. Notice that the flames burn brightest when both candles are participating, cooperating, and present. A marriage is like that. Be forever present for one another, shining light and beauty. Christopher and Christine, each time you light a candle from this point forward, in whatever traditions you create, remember this day, this moment in time. Now that Christopher and Christine have given themselves to each other by solemn vows before us and before God as witness, and have shown their affection and trust by the giving and receiving of rings and by joining hands, I pronounce that they are husband and wife in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit. Christopher, you may kiss your bride.
When I was 14, I was falling fast for a blue-eyed girl in my homeroom class. Trying to find the courage to ask her out was like trying to get oil from a water spout. What you would have said, I can't say. I never did ask, then she moved away. But I learned something from my blue-eyed girl. Sink or swim, you gotta give it a whirl. Life's a dance, you learn as you go. Sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow. Don't worry about what you don't know. Life's a dance, you learn as you go. The longer I live, the more I believe you do have to give if you want to receive. There's a time to listen, a time to talk, and you might have to crawl even after you walk. Had your things blow up in my face, sing along, try to win the race. Been knocked down by the slamming door, picked myself up and came back for more. Life's a dance, you learn as you go. Sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow. Don't worry about what you don't know. Life's a dance, you learn as you go. Life's a dance, you learn as you go. Sometimes you lead, sometimes
I was lucky enough to meet Maya when I was 7 years old. My first memory of Christine was in the summer of 1997. My family had just moved back from the States, to the States, from living in France for 4 years. I was sitting in what would become the family computer room, and I was looking out the window, watching two girls about my age do cartwheels in the front yard of the house across the street. I remember thinking how much fun they seemed to be having and how I really wanted to join them, but I was way too shy to walk over and say hello. So I just sat and I watched from a distance and wondered to myself if I would ever become friends with the mysterious girl across the street and if we would ever do cartwheels together one day. 17 years later, here I am, standing next to that mysterious girl on her wedding night. As I was writing this speech, I was having an extremely hard time formulating the words to describe how important Christine is to me. 17 years of friendships and memories to choose from, and here I was speechless. Since I could not find the words on my own, I sought help from one of my favorite Pixar movies, Toy Story 3. At the end of the movie, Andy prepares for the next chapter of his life. He gives his toys away to the well-deserving little girl. He introduces each toy to her and describes what makes them so special. When it was time for him to give Woody away, he says the following quote. "Now Woody, he's been my pal for as long as I can remember. He's brave like a cowboy should be and kind and smart. But the thing that makes Woody so special is that he'll never give up on you. Ever. He'll be there for you no matter what." Christopher. As you and Christine move on to the next chapter of your life together, never forget all the things that make Christine so special. Just like Woody, she is brave. She will put you before herself and protect you from anything or anyone who tries to harm you. She is kind, and she will love you more than you feel you deserve, and she will always listen when you need her the most. She is smart. She knows exactly the right thing to say to calm you down, to lift your spirits, and to make you laugh. But most importantly, she will never give up on you, ever. I know this because for the past 17 years, that's what she's done for me. Christopher, I have one favor to ask you today. As you build a life with Christine and become her family, never forget all the things that make her so special. I've known since the day Christine met you that you were her soulmate. And I would never have admitted it then because I did not want to have to share her with anyone else. But after beginning to know you over the past 3 years, it's felt right to share. I know that Christine and I will always be best friends because it's a promise that we made to each other long ago. However, just like Andy, it's time for me to let her go. Chris, you are now her husband, her best friend, and her soulmate forever. It's not easy to share the person you love the most in life and to accept that you are no longer number one, but I have never regretted one moment of it since meeting you. Christine, your friendship means more to me than you'll ever know. I'm so grateful for our past 17 years of cartwheels. But I'm even more grateful to be able to witness the future that you and Chris are about to embark on. So that being said, please join me in toasting to you, Mr. and Mrs. Carroll. Christine, I love you. You're my best friend. It's not a title, it's a promise.
This place to come drink for free too. The fact that everyone in this room can be reunited for such an occasion is truly a blessing. As most of you know, a good portion of the audience has traveled from all over the country for military installations they now call home to be here with us this evening. Jake Mark took a break from flying helicopters in Fort Rucker, Alabama.
Yeah.
Him and his wife came out. Matt McCafferty left his platoon in Fort Hood. Bree Chitwood, who is stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where she's usually caring for soldiers as Army nurse. And Chris Kapuscinski must have gotten tired of blowing things up at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida to come and watch his brother-in-law get married. Hell, even Chris here. Oh wait, just the National Guard. Chris and Christine came up from their home in Charlotte, North Carolina, so that their families and closest friends could join them in Cincinnati tonight. The fact that everyone here could take time out of their busy schedules and gather around these two for the most memorable moments of their life is just awesome. As you take a look at the people who surround you tonight, you start to see the good company Chris and Christine surround themselves with, which really says something more about the kind of people they are. Chris and Christine started dating during our sophomore year of college. Ever since then, I've gotten to know Christine very well. And I have to talk about Christine a little bit just because I've known her almost as well as I know Chris, because she's been around for a while. If I could describe Christine in just a few words, I describe her as a cheerleader for life itself. She is always in high spirits and never fails to put a smile on my face. When Christine is excited about something that is seemingly a normal occurrence to the rest of us, and can't help but feel a little happier. Her joyful presence is contagious when she walks into a room. And as if that wasn't enough, I know I speak for everyone who knows her, as well as I do, that Christine has enhanced all of our lives by being a one-of-a-kind friend we can always count on.
Love you.
And then there's Carol. I lived with Chris in the dorms our freshman year of college, and then in the Straight Street house with him for the following 3 years after freshman. The first time I remember meeting Carol was our freshman year during a backyard football game on campus with some of the Army guys and our friends. Chris was the nicest, most humble competitor on the field that day. No, I'm kidding. Chris talked more smack that game than Lindsay Until this day, the back and forth bantering hasn't stopped between us. Chris and I got to know each other very well after we moved into Straight Street. We had different schedules during the weekdays, but when the weekend would roll around, we'd always find some trouble to get into. I won't go into the specific stories right now, but chances are you've heard them from Chris. And if you've heard them from him, you've probably heard them at least 10 times. The point is, we had fun. We were two bachelors who always made jokes about how we never settled down. In fact, every time the word marriage was mentioned around Chris, he'd get all pale and have to loosen his collar. And then look over at me with terrified and just look in his eyes. Can you give us an example, maybe?
That's not scary enough, Chris. Come on, you can do better.
Well, you know how they say love finds you when you're not even looking for it or when you least expect it. Chris had met his match when Christine walked into his life. They hit it off right away, and they were perfect for each other. They were perfect for each other partly because of how successful they are as individuals. Chris is one of the most hardworking and driven guys I've ever met. Although we all pick on him for not thinking before he opens his mouth, he is one smart dude. And he'll be successful no matter what path he follows in life. Especially that nerdy computer one. That goes for both of you though. You two will be successful because of who you are and because you have each other. Through thick and thin, you won't let the other one down. And you'll always have the other one to make you smile at the end of the day. You ready? So let's raise our glasses, because I'd like to propose a toast to the new bride and groom and wish them only the best for the rest of their lives together. To the new beginning.
The world's been spinning round since time began. And when it stops, is out of my hands. So I could swear forever for all it's worth, or give you every day I have on earth. Long as I live, long as I breathe, with every heartbeat, I'll need you near me. I won't leave you behind till the Lord says it's time to go with Him. I'm yours long as I live. No matter if there's mountains you can't move, or harder times than you thought you'd go through,